thing today, of course, for the Jets, and you're in the offensive unit, but that defense has got to stop them. Now, they had a test against the Redskins, and I thought the defensive unit for the Jets played well in that game, but again, the final score is the only thing that is important, and today they've got to stop Zonka and Kick and also Mercury Mara.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, Sam. Defense has definitely got his work cut out for him this afternoon. However, I felt this way all along this season, that our defense would eventually become a very good defense, and I think that they have, and I think they will rise to meet the challenge today.
How about this 53 defense that we've been reading a great deal about? Bob Matheson, who plays defensive end for the Dolphins, wears number 53. What is it exactly?
Well, he's actually, I think he's played linebacker before this, and he's big enough that now they've got him at defensive end, so really what they're trying to do is they've got three other down linemen who've never played, let's say, a linebacking position. And with Matheson there, why, it gives you another down lineman with a little bit more mobility than, say, somebody else that'll be his substitute that plays strictly in the defensive line.
Because they may be going today without Paul Warfield.
Right, and that's no doubt going to help us a little bit maybe, but at the same time, you know, this is the NFL, and every man that they put out there on that field, I'm sure every coach would like to have his number ones, but I've seen a lot of number twos do a mighty fine job.
Well, they've got a number 2 quarterback also, and I see Al Atkinson limping just ever so slightly, and Larry Grantham probably won't play today.
Yeah, that's going to, you know, take away from us, you know, a little bit, but as I said before, I think that we've got 40 players on our team just as they have on theirs, and all 40 are capable of playing, or they'd be somewhere else.
Okay, John, good luck today.
Thank you.
Our guest receives the new Schick Flexomatic 400 for a closer electric shave. More comfortable because of the extra thin, flexible head. It's the shaver that makes the wet shave a thing of the past. This is Sam DeLuca. I'll have some comments and more pregame highlights in just 60 seconds.
And as John Riggins pointed out during the interview, it's really senseless or not fair to compare him to Larry Zonka based on today's performance. Yardage is really meaningless, as John Riggins said. The back that plays for the winning team today probably will have more yardage. And like everyone else on a football team, the running back is dependent on the people around him. He's dependent on the defense to get him the football, to get the offense the football. He's dependent on his offensive line to block for him. He's dependent on the quarterback to pass effectively and keep the defense loose so he can run with the football. He's dependent on the other backs around him. They have to block for him. So we may not be able to compare Larry Zonka and John Riggins based on today's performance, and I don't think it's fair anyway. Zonka has been around for 5 years. John Riggins is now only in his second year, but I will say this, I think that Riggins has more potential. He's a faster back, and someday probably will be the finest fullback in the game. This is Sam DeLuca. In just 60 seconds, I'll be back with Merle Harmon for the Jets-Dolphins game.
The Jets will be receiving this afternoon, so let's look at that no-name defense for the Miami Dolphins. The front four will be Fern Denherder, a second-year man from Central Iowa. Manny Fernandez at left tackle. Bob Heinz will be at right tackle, as Jim Dunaway is still out after undergoing surgery for a herniated disc. He is expected back December 3rd for the game. Bill Stanfield, the former Georgia All-American, will be the defensive right end. The linebacking corps, Doug Swift, Nick Bonaconti, and Mike Colin. 3 veterans with Bonaconti as the elder statesman of the group. Tim Foley and Curtis Johnson will be the cornerback, and the deep backs will be Dick Anderson and Jake Scott. We'll give you the Jets offensive lineup in just a moment, but first, the invocation, which is customary here at all Dolphin games in Miami. And Father, Monsignor Enright, I believe, is going to give the invocation, which will be followed by the national anthem.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, great Father, of the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, God, our Heavenly Father, we ask your blessing on all of our here present today. We ask for your special blessing for all members of the team and players. Give them courage, strength, and stamina to play the game without harm or injury. These blessings we ask of you through Christ our Lord. Amen.
As our Pledge of Allegiance and National Anthem are presented by Mr. Napoleon Reed and the Archbishop Shirley High School Choral Group. We've had the singing of the Pledge of Allegiance here in Miami and now our national anthem. Has jammed the Orange Bowl in Miami on a beautiful afternoon. It's 79 degrees in Miami. We have a very slight wind of 9 miles an hour, I believe it is, out of the northeast. The humidity is 67%. And certainly we are correct in saying it's the 9-mile-an-hour wind. But, Sam, this is the first time that I can remember sitting up here in this magnificent press box with a nice big post in front of us. And not having the wind slapping me in the face. So the wind does not look like will be a factor today.
No, and I don't think that the temperature is going to be a factor either. It's been relatively cool here in Miami the last few days, and I think that it's a pleasant day for football. The sun, it's overcast, the sun isn't shining brightly, and I don't think heat will be a factor. Of course, if it does get hot, it's likely to bother the Jets more than the Dolphins, because the Dolphins do have an opportunity to work in Miami under the extreme heat year-round.
Hank Bajorklin and Phil Wise are back deep for the New York Jets as Garo Yepremian gets ready to kick off for the Miami Dolphins. By the way, Gus Sullivan was telling us there's a good grip to it. Here is Yepremian's kickoff going back into the end zone, deep and out of the end zone. The Jets will play the ball in their own 20. So the Jet offensive unit comes on the field for the first time this afternoon, led by Joe Namath. And the wide receivers will be Eddie Bell and Don Maynard. The tight end, Rich Castor. The tackles, Bob Sweet and Winston Hill. The guards, Randy Rasmussen and Dave Herman. John Smith will be at center. And the running backs will be Emerson and Boozer and John Riggins. And already this Miami crowd is starting to chant, defense, defense, defense. They love the no-name defense here in Miami. Fell to the left, Maynard right, first play of the ball game. From scrimmage. The running back split wide. John Schmidt over the ball. The Jets go set. Namath hands off to Boozer. Boozer behind Herman. Gets a yard or so. Flag goes down as Boozer is knocked down to the 22 by Curtis Johnson, one of the cornerbacks. So, first play of the game and a flag. Holding against New York. There's the call. That'll be a half the distance penalty.
Yeah, Merle, there's really no excuse for a holding penalty on a running play. Occasionally, because all offensive linemen do use their hands to pass protect. The trend today is toward the defensive lineman who uses his hands, tries to pull and tug, get the offensive lineman off balance. Therefore, he's got to use his hands when he's pass blocking. But there should never be a reason for holding on a running play.
All right, Denherter, Fernandez, Hines, and Stanford are up front, and Manny Fernandez, sure enough, is in that lineup. The Jets with a first down and 20 on their own 10-yard line. The half the distance penalty from the 20 sets them back 10. John Schmidt goes down over the ball. Eddie Bell is wide to the left, wide to the right is Don Maynard. The cornerbacks are laying off. They are not playing up at the line of scrimmage to go bump and run. Jet running backs are in tight. Namath calls the play, hands off to Riggins. Riggins hits the right side on a slant, runs into Burns Denherter. The big left end. He knocks him down after maybe a yard picked up. And it'll be third down for New York and 19. And coming into the ball game is Bob Matheson, and here comes the 53 defense for Miami. And where did they get the name of the 53 defense? Flag on the last play, by the way. 5 yards against the Dolphins, takes the ball out to the 15 and keeps the down the same. First down and 15 now. Anyway, the 53 defense is named after number 53, Bob Matheson. Now, he would be a fourth linebacker.
He's got good size. He's big enough really to play defensive end, maybe a little light for defensive end, but they keep him in a standing position, in the position the defensive end would ordinarily play.
Wide to the left, wide to the right, Don Maynard. First down and 15 is the call. Namath on the draw to Boozer. Boozer, no hole, tries to get to the outside, runs into Bill Stanford for no gain. And the Miami defense is really tough in this first series against the Jet running game. Now will be second down, 15 on the 15-yard line off the New York Jets.
Jets had long yardage, Merle, for a first down. I guess it was about 14 yards. But I think that Namath is trying to establish that running game, and that's the reason for running the football.
All right, let's see. I believe Heinz is out of there now, and they have three rushers. Denherter, Fernandez, and Stanford with four linebackers. Doug Swift comes up on the corner now on the left side. Wide to the left is Eddie Bell. Wide to the right, Don Maynard. Second down, 15. Back to pass, Joe Namath for the first time. Namath throwing for Don Maynard. It's caught. Dick Anderson down to the first. It's up to the 35. This Jet player going by Rich Thatcher. So this is intercepted on his first pass of the afternoon. They knock the ball down to 33. And the Miami offense comes on, led by Earl Morrow. Quincy Morris and Larry Zonka will be the running back. Brings Miami out at an eye and a slot left. First down. In motion to the left goes right is Howard Twilley. Here's a handoff to Morris. Morris bangs into the middle and goes maybe for a yard at the most. Mark Lomas, the right end, stops the play for the New York Jets. He got very little. We'll wait for the marking. The front four for New York: Jerry Philbin, John Little, John Elliott, and Mark Lomas. No gain on the play for all practical purposes. Maybe a foot. We'll call it second and 10. Mike Taylor, the rookie from Michigan, and Ralph Baker are the outside linebackers. Wide receivers to each side. Morrill an inside handoff to Zonka. He's down to the 31 and inches towards the 30 and a stop there. And the tackler, John Little and Ralph Baker. Jim Mandich is now in a tight end. Mar Fleming comes out for Miami on a third down, about 7. The ball just outside the New York 30-yard line. Jets have only 2 linebackers in at the moment and 5 defensive backs. Wide to the right, Twilley. Wide to the left, Otto Stowe. Third down call for Earl Morrill, the veteran quarterback out of Michigan State. Backpedals to throw. Throws a swing pass to Zonka coming out of the backfield. He's down across the 20. You see the across the 25 rather. He is down around the 23-yard line where he is tripped up and knocked down by Gus Sullivan. And it's a first down for the Dolphins on the Jet 23. Mandich comes out. Fleming comes in for Miami at tight end.
Big first down for the Miami Dolphins. Of course, they'd like to establish that running game also. Jets are using 5 defensive backs, Merrill, 2 linebackers, 2 strong safeties, Wise and Holloman. And again, it's very similar to the 4-4 defense, the 4 linebackers that they used a good portion of last year.
Earl Morrill at quarterback. Operates the Dolphins in an eye, and he hands off to the first man. And that's Larry Zonka, the big fullback out of Syracuse. He goes banging across the 20 to the 19, where he is tripped up by Ralph Baker. And the gain is about 3. It'll be second down and 7. Larry Zonka, second in the AFC in rushing with 739 yards. O.J. Simpson leads it with 812. John Riggins is third in the AFC in rushing with 736 yards. Here come the Dolphins. Jim Langer out of South Dakota State is out over the ball. Wide to the left, Otto Stowe, and out to the right side, Howard Twilley, the former Tulsa star. Here is Morrill. A handoff to Mercury Morris. Behind Gilchenberg, swinging around the right end, goes across the 15, gets down to around the 12. And we will have a measurement, I believe. Chris Farasopoulos made the tackle, and Farasopoulos is injured on the play. And here come the 6.
Yeah, Merrill, Al Atkinson is hurting. He's got a bad foot. Larry Grantham has a deep thigh bruise. Neither one has started the football game. This is one of the reasons that the Jets are going with the 5th defensive back. Now, you would think against a tough running team like the Miami Dolphins, it's a first down for Miami. And Chris Farasopoulos is still lying on the field being worked over by the Jets doctor and also by the trainer. Getting back to the 5 defensive backs, you would think that against a tough running team like Miami, you would want to use 5 defensive linemen instead of the 5th defensive back. I'm sure the injuries to Grantham and Atkinson have some bearing on the Jet defensive coaches. There's a timeout, so we'll get to this later. No timeout? Okay, let me just finish that statement. Really, it's not so much that they're using 5 defensive backs that will weaken their defense against the rush. It's how they play those 5 defensive backs. They're playing like linebackers close to the line of scrimmage, and therefore, really, Miami's chance to run the football hasn't been greatly improved.
All right, the Dolphins have picked up their second first down of the afternoon. The ball is down on the Jet 12-yard line. The Dolphins won the earlier meeting in New York 27-17 behind Bob Greasy, who is now out but is expected back for the game against the Giants. W.K. Hicks is now the defensive secondary for New York. Out of the huddle come the Dolphins. Fully to the right. The running back are Larry Zonka and Mercury Morris, and Earl Morrill calls it. Hands off to Morris. Here he comes around the left side, gets down to the 10, is jumped by Early Thomas just inside the 10-yard line. Phil Wise up from the secondary to help out, and Mercury Morris is a very shifty runner and has become a powerful runner this year also. Here comes Jim Mandich, the tight end out of Michigan in his 3rd season in, and Mar Fleming, the ex-Packer, goes out. Gain of 3, second down and 7 at the 9.
We'll be watching Mike Taylor, the Jets linebacker, see how he does in it. He's starting his first ball game. He played well last week. He played a good portion of the game. Tough tackler.
Stoll wide to the left. And to the right, Twilley. Morrill to throw. Throws for Twilley. Touchdown. Howard Twilley catching a 9-yard touchdown pass from Earl Morrill. And the Dolphins go into the lead. And the crowd goes bananas with those white handkerchiefs. Everybody waving the white handkerchiefs here in Miami. So, the old pro Earl Morrill drives the Dolphins 33 yards in 7 plays to put them on the scoreboard. And a 6-0 lead. The left-footed kicking Garo Yefremian will go for the extra point with Morrill holding. Here's the snap, and the kick is on the way. It is good. 10:06 to go in the first quarter. There's a timeout of the field to score. The Miami Dolphins 7 and the New York Jets nothing. The Miami Dolphins, who have won 9 straight games this year and had one to regular season play last year for 10. The Dolphins set a club record in scoring last week, putting 52 on the board against the New England Patriots. They're 4-9 against the Jets in AFC competition. But Yorkland is deep with Wise. Yefremian's kickoff goes sailing way back into the end zone where it is down by Bill Wise. So the Jets take over at their own 20-yard line once again. They're down by 7-0 in this ball game, and this is a very big game for the Jets. It's big for the Dolphins in that it would clinch the East Division crown for them. But I think there's little doubt now that the Dolphins are going to wrap that up. But it's a very big game for the Jets because they still hope to win that wild card spot in the AFC playoffs.
And they've got to be wondering about the 6 wins that they do have over 3-week clubs. They want to prove to themselves and everyone else that they're a solid ball club, and this is their opportunity.
Eddie Bell going wide to the left and Don Maynard wide to the right. The Jets line up in the eye. John Riggins up front. Emerson Boozer right behind him. The Jets go set. The handoff goes to Boozer. Boozer hits the line, goes no place at the 20. Nick Fornicani, the middle linebacker. The old pro out of Notre Dame makes the stop. He's 5'11" and 220, but he is very mobile, as Jake Gaither would call him.
Mobile and tough, Merrill. Like Larry Grantham, relies a great deal on leverage. He's not going to overpower anyone, but you'll never get under him. You'll never be able to get a shoulder under his. He just plants those feet as you're about to make contact, gets under the offensive lineman, and even though he may be outweighed 25 to 30 pounds, he usually succeeds in straightening up the lineman and getting in on the tackle.
Bob Matheson in, 4 linebackers, 3 rushers. Matheson lines up on the corner on the left side, however. Namath puts the Jets set on the 20 with a second down 20. Backpedals to throw. Throws to Riggins coming out of the backfield of the 20. At the 25, knocked out of bounds by Doug Swift and by Curtis Johnson at the 27-yard line. So it's a gain of 7, meaning 3rd down and 3 coming up for New York at the 27-yard line of the Jets. We're talking about Jake Gaither, the longtime coach at Florida A&M and one of the most respected men of the business. He was once asked about his big back. We were talking about mobile. He said, I like my back mobile, agile, and hostile. And he really had him.
The regular defensive end is that he works from a standing position, what they call a 2-point stance. Doesn't have his hand on the ground, which would make it a 3-point stance.
Namath fakes to Riggins, goes back to throw, and throws to Boozer coming out of the backfield at the 35 for a first down, and Curtis Johnson is there to cover to make the tackle. So the Jets get their first down of the afternoon. The ball right at the 35-yard line. First down, New York. The Jets trail 7-0. We have 8 minutes and 48 seconds to go in the first quarter here in Miami. On the left side, Namath up under. John Schmidt calling the play. Running backs are in close. Namath backpedals to throw. Has some time. Throws to Boozer at the 50. He's inside Miami territory at the 47 and brought down by Jake Scott. So Joe Namath going to the air. The ball spotted very near the 47-yard line. A gain of 17 and a first down. So the Jets have had little success running, and Namath goes to the air to maybe open up that middle a little bit.
The one advantage of having Matheson in that standing position on the defensive line is that he can drop back and not only rush the passer, which is what the defensive end normally does, but he can also get into pass coverage so that in a passing situation, it's a pretty good defense.
Barkham is in for Maynard. He's to the right. Bell to the left. The handoff goes to Boozer. Boozer hits the left side, crosses the 45, gets near the 44, where Manny Fernandez, the 5-year veteran from Utah, makes the tackle. Maynard comes back in now, and Barkham goes out. Namath is hit on 3 out of 4 for 32 yards here in the first period.
Fernandez is probably the Dolphins' best defensive lineman, Merrill. He was a free agent, and the story is the Dolphins signed him simply because he had a back in 68. He's developed into their best defensive lineman.
Namath back to pass, 2nd and 7, throws to Boozer, who drops, Riggins coming out of the backfield. He drops the ball, covered by Doug Swift. I think John was trying to run with that ball before he got a hold of it. Let's pause briefly for station identification. Your dial is Jetstar.
This is WTRY-FM, Albany, New York.
Running back, Boozer and Riggins. Joe Willie on the draw to Riggins. Riggins at the 40, at the 35, breaks tackles and goes inside the 30 to the 29. Brought down by Curtis Johnson, the cornerback. And John Riggins picks up his biggest gain of the day so far, 15 yards, just inside the 30-yard line of the Dolphins, and it's first down New York, and the Jets are on the move, starting this drive from their own 20.
Yeah, you can never tell when the quarterback is checking off or changing the play at the line of scrimmage. If we could tell up here, they could certainly tell down on the field when he does that, but Bona County was blitzing, and the play did break to the other side. No linebacker to bring down Riggins.
Maynard sets on the right side. Eddie Bell going wide to the left. The quarterbacks are still back. Namath this time to Riggins. Riggins is hit by Bob Matheson, fumbles the ball. Let's see if the play was over. Bob Matheson made the tackle as Riggins was having trouble controlling the ball, but the play was dead. And John moves the ball to the 28-yard line for a gain of 2. It'll be second down and 8. Riggins, as we mentioned earlier, is third in the AFC in rushing with 736 yards. Last year he rushed for 769 yards and needed, now he has 17. He needed 33 going into the ball game to surpass last year's rushing mark. Here come the Jets in a slot right with Maynard wide, Eddie Bell in the slot to the right. The running back split out wide. 28-yard line is the line of scrimmage, Miami territory. Namath calls the play with Schmidt over the ball. Joe Willie is back to pass. He is looking in the pocket, running out of the pocket. Look out, Joe. Pulled down by Matheson from behind on the 26. Joe Namath advancing the ball and pulled down by Bob Mathis on the 26 of the Dolphins. And it now becomes third down and 6.
He had a big area to move, Namath did. The pass protection was good. He had 4 receivers downfield, the 3 ends, the tight end, the 2 wide receivers, and also John Riggins was downfield, but there was just a gaping hole to his left, and Namath decided to take it. His receivers were covered.
The Dolphins are staying with 3 rushers and 4 linebackers. Wide to the left, Bell. Wide to the right, Maynard. The running backs are split. Third down, 6 is the call on the 26-yard line of the Dolphins. The Jets go set. Namath goes back to pass. The rush is on, but Joe has time. Throws to Castro on the 15. Castro fights his way to the 12, brought down by Tim Foley, the left cornerback. And the Jets get themselves a first down of the Dolphin. Well, it's almost the 11-yard line. So Namath converts the third down play. And the Jets are first and 10 on the 11. That's their 4th first down of the afternoon.
Well, that was the same pass pattern that Namath was intercepted on earlier in the ball game. Castor running a sideline, Maynard going deep downfield on a fly or a go pattern. The first time he threw to Maynard, that time he threw to Castor, was completed.
Castor picking up 14 yards. He leads the Jets receivers with 546 going into the game today. Namath, the handoff to Riggins, hit behind the line, breaks the tackle, gets inside the 10, down near the 9, and Dick Anderson, the strong safety, comes up to make the tackle. Denherter then came in to help out with Doug Swift, and Mike Tolan came flying over the top and folded Riggins back across the 10, but the ball is spotted on the 9. That'll become second down 8 for New York at the 9-yard line. Riggins is now 3 carries for 20 yards.
Well, you remember in the first meeting between these 2 clubs at Chase Stadium, I guess about a month ago, the Dolphins stopped the Jets on the 1-yard line. It was first and goal on the 1, and they couldn't score. And Riggins made a comment after the game that he thought they relied too much on Namath, couldn't figure out why they faltered inside the 10-yard line.
Going to the right side, Maynard. Wide to the left is Eddie Bell. The running backs are split wide. Namath backpedaling to throw. He has some time. He throws, caught by Castro at about the 1-yard line. He's right down against the goal line. Jake Scott making the tackle. And should be, first down and goal to go inside the 1. Now Bob Heinz is coming back in for Miami to give the Dolphins a bigger lineman than Bob Matheson. Wayne Stewart has come in to give the Jets 2 tight ends. And Jerome Barkham is also in. Namath is now 5 out of 7 for 54 yards. And the Jets are first and goal to go inside the Miami 1. John Schmidt goes out over the ball. Barkham lines up on the wing left. The ends are in tight. And the handoff goes to Riggins. Riggins bangs in for the touchdown off the slant right. Jake Scott hit him on the 1, but he bounced off Scott and right into the end zone. And Riggins puts the Jets on the scoreboard from the 1-yard line. The Jets marched 80 yards in 11 plays in a very well-organized drive, Sam.
Yeah, they had some yardage on the ground also. The one play that Riggins broke when Kona County was blitzing was important, and they have run the ball fairly well. Of course, the major portion of the yardage on that drive was Joe Namath throwing the football.
Bob Davis will hold for Bobby Harfield. Bob will attempt to tie the game. The kick is up, and he does just that. So with a 7-7 ball game and 2:23 to go in the first period, there's a timeout on the field. Let's take a 60-second jet break for this announcement. Is ready. Morris and Lee are ready. Norm Schachter, the referee, says, let's go, and Howfield bangs the ball downfield. It'll be taken by Morris on the 1, to the 5, to the 10, up the middle of the 15. Breaks to the 20, gets knocked down hard, fumbles the ball by him, and recovers it on the 20. Jim Mandich fell on that ball. It was separated from Mercury Morris, who really took a shot from Roy Kirksey, rather. And the Jets have an injury.
Kirksey, I believe. No, he really laid it to him.
So there's a timeout on the field to score the New York Jets 7 to the Miami Dolphins 7. Well, we're ready to resume play once again. Roy Kirksey is being helped off the field. He knocked himself a little dizzy. Hit Mercury Morris so hard. Separated the ball from Morris, but Mandich fell on it. Morley, quarterback, calls it. First down at the Miami 20. The running backs are split out wide. The handoff goes to Kick. Kick behind Kuchenberg at the 20. Trips and goes down the 26-yard line. Mike Taylor trips him up. Jim Kick out of Wyoming. And the ball is brought back to the 25-yard line. A gain of 5 by Jim Kick. He's 5'11" and 215. Can really move, and as Sam said, he's a little bit upset about losing part of his starting job to Mercury Morris. As Don Shula says, he has 3 starting backs.
He's got 3 good ones, and of course Morris gives him that outside speed, which Kick doesn't really have. Doesn't have great speed.
The ends are in, and Twilly is to the right, and the running back split. Earl Morrill, a handoff to Kick. He's hit at the line of scrimmage by John Elliott, the big guy from Texas, in his 6th year for the Jets. The ball now at the 26-yard line becomes 3rd down and 4. Earl Morrill, who took over for the injured Bob Greasy, going into the game today, had completed 36 of 63 passes for 536 yards, and he has a 5th touchdown pass of the season, getting it today to put Miami on the scoreboard early. The Dolphins have rushed, and we have 59 seconds to go in the first period. Morrill to throw, throws, and it's incomplete. He tried to pop his tight end, Marv Fleming, but Marv got popped by W.K. Hicks and shook the ball loose, and the Jets almost had an interception. So Larry Seifel comes in to kick for the Dolphins on a 4th down and 4 on the Dolphins 26. Morrill, 2 out of 3 in this game, 16 yards, 1 touchdown. Chris Parasopolis, who was shaken up earlier, is back in now for the Jets. He's deep along with W.K. Hicks. And Larry Seifel, who is averaging just under 40 yards a kick, is back to punt for the Dolphins. The first punt of this ball game. 54 seconds to go in the first period in Miami with a score tied 7-7. Here's the snap from center. The kick is away by Seifel. He bangs it downfield. Parasopolis will take the ball on the 29 of the Jets. Parasopolis at the 34, goes down there, and a hard shot by Mike Tolan, one of the linebackers. A 45-yard punt by Larry Seifel. At about a 4-yard return, they spot the ball officially on the 33-yard line, and the Jets take over for the 3rd time today with the offensive unit. The first time, Namath was intercepted. The second time, he drove the Jets 80 yards for the tying touchdown.
Now, watching Mike Tawas, the Jets' #1 draft choice, playing linebacker today along with Ralph Baker as the Jets are using 5 defensive backs, does well on the running game. Not quite as sure of himself in passing situations.
Back to pass on first down, throws to Riggins, coming out of the backfield. Riggins at the 35. Riggins is knocked out of bounds by Doug Swift on the 39-yard line. So Namath going to the air. He had little success in the first 2 drives on the ground against the Dolphins, but then, by going to the air, got his ground game going in that last touchdown drive. Bob Heinz is now in for Miami, as the Dolphins have gone back to the front 4. So it's Vern Dinherter, Manny Fernandez, Bob Hines, and Bill Stanfill up front. John Riggins has now caught 2 passes for 12 yards. Wide to the right, Maynard. Wide to the left, Eddie Bell. Rich Castor, the tight end, is set up on the right side. The running backs are in close. The Jets go set. Namath on a 2nd and 4, gives off to John Riggins, and Bob Hines stops him near the 40-yard line for a very short game. So it'll be 3rd down, about 3 for the Jets.
Riggins, ball carrier.
John Riggins, the big guy from Centralia, Kansas. And by the way, his brother Billy has played for the University of Kansas and is playing for KU this year. But he also had a brother, Junior Riggins, who decided to go baseball after playing football at KU. Well, there's the gun to end the first quarter and the score. The New York Jets 7, the Miami Dolphins 7. Let's take a 60-second jet break for this announcement.
40 minutes flight over the...
Bell to the left, Maynard to the right. Third down call for Namath. Joe Willie on an inside handoff to Riggins, and he is hit back in the 38 by Bob Matheson. So the Jets will have to give up the football on a 4th down and 5 as they lost 2 yards in the last play. So Steve O'Neill, who is averaging almost 40 yards a kick, is back to punt. Jake Scott goes deep along with Dick Anderson for Miami.
Well, they call that Miami defense a no-name defense, but they certainly don't play that way. It's a good defensive unit. Probably the reason they call it a no-name defense is the way they got that front four. Manny Fernandez, as we said before, was a free agent. And Vern Denherder, who is maybe their best pass rusher right now, was a 9th-round pick in 1971. He was an ex-basketball player and a shot putter, not much of a football player in college. And, of course, Jim Dunaway, who's out with he had a herniated disc, I believe, was pretty much cast off by Buffalo. So that's how the name originated earlier in the year, or last year, the no-name defense.
And the no-name defense loves it. They look at that name with a mark of pride. All-out rush by Miami, and O'Neill gets it away, drives up, beautiful kick downfield. Inside the 10 at the 7-yard line is Jake Scott at the 15 to the 20 and is pulled out at about the 22. Ed Gallagher made the tackle, a 54-yard punt by Steve O'Neill. And there's a timeout on the field, and the score, the Miami Dolphins 7 and the New York Jets 7. Stowe to the left, Twilley to the right. Earl Morrill at quarterback, fakes to Morris, goes back to pass. He is throwing incomplete at the 43-yard line, intended for Marv Fleming. Steve Cannon was covering in the area for New York. Cannon, of course, a very popular name here in Florida, having played at Gainesville at the University of Florida. Was the Jets' #1 draft choice. 2nd and 10 on the Miami 22.
Well, the Jets have had a few breaks, and as much as Miami has dropped a few passes they should have had, that last pass should have been caught by Fleming. And the last time the Dolphins had the ball, I think they would have had a 1st down. It was a 3rd down situation. And again, I think it was Mandich who dropped the football. So really the Jets have had some breaks in that respect.
Wide to the left goes Stowe, to the right is Twilley. The Dolphins are in the eye. Here is Morrill backpedaling to throw and looking, pumping once and throwing long for Twilley. Has got him down there, makes the catch, and goes out of bounds, but I believe he was out of bounds when he caught the ball, and he was on the 41-yard line. Steve Cannon was chasing Twilley, and Twilley got behind him, but Twilley was out of bounds. He had 1 foot out of bounds when he caught the ball.
And again, the Jet defense was lucky because Twilley was behind Cannon. The pass defense has not been solid today, and again, we should point out that they're using 5 defensive backs. But as I mentioned before, it's not so much whether you're using 5 defensive backs or 4 linebackers or an extra defensive lineman. It's how you deploy those people, and the Jets are using that 5th defensive back to guard against the run and not to prevent the pass.
To the right is Twilley, to the left is Stowe. The cornerbacks of the Jets lay off by almost 10 yards. 3rd down call and 10. Morrill backpedaling to throw again. He is going this time at the 38-yard line to Stowe. Makes a diving catch for the 1st down. Mike Taylor covering in the area. So Stowe caught that ball right off the shoe tops, went down, got up, tried to move, and Taylor covered him immediately. A 16-yard pickup at a 1st down. And Morrill is now 3 out of 6 for 32 yards.
Probably should be 6 for 6. Early Thomas was faked out completely on that last play. Stowe broke to the sideline, and he turned Thomas. Thomas had made the break to the sideline. He cut back.
1st and 10 on the 38 to the right, Twilley. Here's Morrill, a pitch to Mercury. Morris bobbling the ball. The Jets have recovered it, I believe, at the 37-yard line. Let's see who's got it. The ball was bobbled a 2nd time by the Jets, but they still recovered. Early Thomas recovering this time. Mercury Morris never had control of the ball, but it will be spotted on the 37 is where the original recovery was made. The ball was bobbled a second time, but the whistle had blown the ball dead at the 37. And the Jets get a break, and now they need to go right in, Sam.
Yeah, this would be ideal if they can capitalize on this because, breaks per se don't mean very much unless you can go ahead and get on the scoreboard.
Well, with the score tied 7-7 and 12:56 to go in the first half, there's a timeout on the field. Let's take a 60-second Jet break for this announcement. Wide to the left goes Eddie Bell. To the right is Don Maynard. The Jets are in the eye with Riggins up front and Boozer close behind. Namath calls the play on the 37, gives to Boozer. Boozer comes up the middle across the 35, gets down to the 33 where Bob Matheson makes the tackle for the Dolphins. Matheson is out of Duke in his 6th year. Emerson Boozer crashing down to the 33-yard line, and Boozer has had himself quite a year. Going into the game today, he needed only 32 yards rushing to become the second greatest rusher in Jet history. He has 7 yards so far in the game today. Bill Mathis is the number 2 rusher, and of course, Matt Snell owns the top mark in rushing for the Jets. A gain of 4, second down, 6 for New York. Namath hands off to Boozer. Boozer comes back to the right side behind Randy Rasmussen, gets down to the 29. Tim Foley from the secondary of the Dolphins makes the tackle, and the Jets will have 3rd down and about 2. Talking about Emerson Boozer, he's first in the NFL in scoring other than kicking with 78 points. He's second in the NFL in all scoring. Ray Jarrella of Pittsburgh has 81 points to top the scores. Boozer has 13 touchdowns, 10 by rushing, 3 by passing. And his next touchdown will establish a new personal high for him. He had 13 TDs in 1967. 3rd down, 2, New York. Score tied 7-7. Wide receivers to each side. Namath is back to pass. Joe looking. Joe throwing for Castor. Has him. Touchdown. Hit him on the 3-yard line. He went in front of Dick Anderson standing up. And Namath on a 3rd down and 2 call from the 28-yard line fires a strike to Rich Castor. And Castor, the leading receiver for the Jets, has now scored his 8th touchdown of the year. And the Jets now lead the Dolphins by 13-12. Coming in, Bobby Hopfield for the extra point try. Castor has now caught 3 passes for 49 yards in this game. Hopfield is set. Bob Davis a hold. Now we have time called. Apparently the ball is a little slippery. And John Schmidt, who will snap, asks for a dry ball. So Joe Namath, who leads all NFL quarterbacks in touchdown passes, has just fired his 16th. Hopfield is set. Here's the extra point try. It is good. And with 11:32 to go in the first half, there's a timeout on the field and a score. The New York Jets 14, the Miami Dolphins 7. I believe the official yardage on that touchdown pass will probably be 27. We'll get at the official stats at the half.
Yeah. Well, I think the Jets have about 86 yards in the air. Joe Namath is 7 for 9, and they have 30 or 32 yards on the ground.
Mercury Morris is deep with Charlie Lee as Bobby Hoffield's kickoff goes back into the end zone and out of the end zone. So the Dolphins will play it from their own 20 on the touchback with the Jets leading 14-7. 11:26 to go in the first half.
Well, the move of Rich Castor into that tight end slot has really worked out well for the Jets. And Namath likes to throw to him. He likes to throw to him over the middle, as opposed to Eddie Bell, of course, who is smaller, and you would try to avoid throwing to Bell over the middle, or Don Maynard, who isn't that big. Well, he's tall, but not as big and tough as Castor. And Castor does use his body, and you can talk to him, and he'll tell you that he tries to utilize that size against the smaller defensive back.
Howard Twilley going to the left and Stowe in the slot left as Morrill operates the Dolphins in the eye with Zonka and Morris. A pitch to Mercury Morris behind Zonka, trying to get outside, tripped up by Phil Wise. Great tackle, and Mercury Morris fumbled the ball, but recovered his own fumble, rolling up near the 19-yard line, but the ball will be spotted back on the 17. Phil Wise, in his second year out of the University of Nebraska at Omaha, back there to make the defensive play for the Jets. And a loss of 3 makes it 2nd and 13. Morris has now carried 5 times for 7 yards.
It's a pretty good job by that Jet defense in stopping the run.
Yes, sir. And they were trying to get Morris outside behind Zonka. But Wise, who was playing over there, and now comes up in the line of scrimmage, lines up in the line of scrimmage to the right. Made that fine play. Wide receiver to each side. Morrow back to pass on 2nd and 13. Morrow throwing a screen. Great catch by Morris back to the 10. Morris to the 15. Morris to the 20. Is knocked down to the 22. And again the ball is sprung loose, but the play was over. Gus Holloman and W.K. Hicks made the tackle, and Jim Langer, the center, had a key block on that screen. But Morris was all the way back to the 10-yard line as he took that pass and winds up getting but short yardage on the play. He got 5 altogether. It'll be 3rd down 8. Jim Mandich has replaced Marv Fleming at tight end for Miami.
Well, let me try to explain what the Jets are doing defensively. The weak safety, in this case the free safety, W.K. Hicks, plays his normal position. The 2 cornerbacks are playing normally. The 2 strong safeties are playing up on the line all right, here we go with the play.
Morrow rolling out to the left, being chased by Loomis, and the flag goes down. Morrow throwing on the run, incomplete. Let's see what the flag is about. Otto Stoll would be the closest receiver, but he was, 10 yards away. The Dolphins are caught holding. Now, let's see what the Jets do, because if they refuse the penalty, it'll be 4th down for the Dolphins. If they take the penalty, it will be 3rd down, and they refuse the penalty, bringing on the punting unit for the Dolphins. Morrill is now 4 out of 8 for 37 yards. Larry Seipel, who's a lonely guy. We were watching Larry on the sideline a moment ago, Sam. He was 15 yards away from the rest of the team on the bench, down there all alone. Just thinking about things, I suppose.
Well, I guess a kicker has to psych himself up just like any other football player, and it's difficult because he doesn't have a chance to vent his emotions. He just sits there and waits.
Seipel from the 12, puts it in the air, and back goes Farasopoulos. Farasopoulos on the 37. Farasopoulos trying to get outside, can't do it, goes down on the 37. Jim Mandich is downfield to make the tackle for the Dolphins. A 41-yard punt by Larry Seipel, and the Jets have the ball at their own 37. We have 9 minutes and 37 seconds left to play in the first half.
Well, if I can finish that explanation of what the Jets are doing defensively, the 2 strong safeties are playing almost on the line of scrimmage. One is playing over the slot man when the Dolphins line up one of their wide receivers in the slot. The other is playing outside the deep Jets defensive end up on the line of scrimmage. So it's a good defense for stopping the sweeps and keeping Mercury Morris contained to the inside.
Ball to the left, wide to the right is Jerome Barkham, who is now in. Here is Namath on an inside handoff to Riggins, coming back up off his own left guard to about the 38, where Mike Colin, the right linebacker, makes the tackle for the Dolphins. He's out of Auburn in his 3rd year. The Jet defense has held the Dolphin rushing game to only 19 yards so far in the game. And the last game in New York, you'll recall, Larry Zonka had 102 yards rushing. John Riggins has carried 7 times for 22 yards. Bob Hines is out. Bob Matheson is in. That gives the Dolphins 3 rushers plus Matheson. 2nd down, about 8. The running backs are split. Namath the pitch to Riggins. Going behind Winston Hill, who pulls. Riggins breaks the tackle, goes across the 45 and gets to the 46. Tim Foley makes the stop finally with help from Doug Swift and Dick Anderson. I believe Foley was a man whose tackle was broken by Riggins. And John went on to get about 6. And the Jets now have a 3rd down and about a yard. Bob Hines comes in to beef up the front line for the Miami Dolphins. Wayne Stewart is in at tight end along with Rich Castor for the Jets in a short yardage situation.
Well, it's hard to tell whether all the zone defenses being used in the NFL have helped the running game because those people in the secondary, the linebackers and deep backs, drop back quickly. It may be one of the reasons that teams have been running so well.
3rd down 1. Namath calls it. Here's the snap, and the handoff goes to Riggins. Riggins has the 1st down and more into Miami territory. Breaking tackle, going to the 40, down to the 30, breaks another tackle, goes to the 25, down to the 20, down to the 15, carrying Tim Foley with him to hit him in the arm, and Riggins just simply dragged Foley. In fact, it looked like Riggins was pulling Foley, was holding on to Foley rather than Foley holding on to Riggins. A 40-yard pickup on the play by John Riggins, down to the 15-yard line of the Dolphins.
And he held on to the football because he couldn't put that other arm over the ball as he was going to be tackled. He had the one arm on the defender that he was struggling with, and of course, just one arm on the football as he was tackled and brought down eventually.
That's the 7th first down to the Jets here in the first half. Eddie Bell wide to the left, Don Maynard wide to the right. First down to the Dolphin 15-yard line. The Jets lead 14-7 here in the Orange Bowl. John Schmidt is over the ball. The Jets go set. Namath back to pass. Drops back deep. Throws over the middle. It's intercepted on the 6-yard line by Nick Monicani. Monicani at the 10. The 15 is out of bounds on the 16-yard line. Winston Hill chased it out of bounds. So the Jets lose a great opportunity on the Dolphins' second interception of a Namath pass. Nick Monicani from the 6 got it out to the 16. And the Dolphins take over. So Miami, with the second interception of the afternoon, the Dolphins have the ball at their own 16.
Again, those passes over the middle are difficult. You've got to throw between the linebackers, and this, of course, requires precise timing.
The left side of the defensive unit up front, we'll tell you about it in a moment. Here's Earl Morrill and a handoff. Dzonka breaking up through the middle for a big hole out to the 30-yard line. A 14-yard pickup. W.K. Hicks making the tackle. Larry Little opened the hole for him. First down, Dolphins. And W.K. Hicks is not getting up. We'll pause briefly for station identification on the Jet Set Network. That was Early Thomas, who was sitting there for a moment, but he's all right as the Dolphins get ready to go for their own 30. Here's a handoff to Mercury Morris, fighting his way into the middle and goes to the 33 and is dumped hard by Steve Thompson, who just came into the ball game, replacing John Little. Ed Gallagher is now playing the left end for Jerry Philbin. Mike Taylor was also into the tackle. A gain of about 2. It'll be second down at 8. Morris has now been held to 9 yards on 6 carries.
Gallagher is the biggest and strongest, Merle, of the Jet defensive linemen. And I imagine that's the reason he's in there to stop this running attack of the Dolphins. The Jets have done a good job of doing that.
Wide to the left goes Stowe. And a pitch comes back to Morris as Zonka went in his slot. Morris bangs his way up to the 40. Fumbles the ball. Miami recovers, though. On the 42, Doug Cruzan fell on the ball at the 42-yard line. John Elliott separated Morris from the ball, and Mercury is having trouble holding on to it today. Now we have an official timeout. The ball is marked on the 41 in place of the 42, but it's still a first down. They originally set the ball on the 42. That's the 4th first down for the Dolphins. Jerry Philbin comes back in, and Ed Gallagher goes out at... No, Ed Gallagher will stay in, but where will he play? Mark Lomas will go out at right end, and Gallagher flips-flops to the other side.
I watched him, Merle, on the 3 plays that he was in at left defensive end. He was blocked all 3 times.
Wide to the left goes Stowe. To the right is Twillian Mandich is now the tight end for the Dolphins. Earl Morrill calls the play with Langer over the ball. Morrill faking. Back to throw and does. Picked off by Hicks on midfield strike. Down the sideline. Goes to the 40, 35, 30, 20, 15. Inside the 15 of the 10. Dives to the 9. W.K. Hicks, an interception at the midfield stripe. Takes the ball back to the 9-yard line. 41 yards on the return. And the Jets have the football right back. An even better field position on an exchange of interceptions. First and goal on the Miami 9.
I wonder if the zone defenses are causing the interception. I don't think so. I think that probably, as I mentioned before, it may be one of the reasons that the running game seems to be more prevalent, or more teams are running with a football successfully this year because of the drop of the linebackers and the deep backs. It helps, especially on stuff up the middle and off tackle rather than on the sweeps.
Each team has turned the ball over twice now. The Jets have a first and goal at the Miami 9-yard line. The Jets lead at 14-7 with 4:15 to play in the first half. Namath a handoff to Boozer. Trying to get to the outside of the 10 is dumped. A great tackle on the 10-yard line by Curtis Johnson, and Boozer is not getting up. Boozer holding the right knee. Emerson Boozer in pain, holding on to the right knee as he was dumped hard by Curtis Johnson. Boozer in 6 carries has picked up 11 yards. The ball was spotted on the 10 for a yard loss. Dr. James Nicholas, the team physician, is out there with Jeff Snedeker, and they're working on the right knee of Emerson Boozer. So Dr. Nicholas taking a very close look and straightening the leg out now, exercising the leg somewhat, but very cautiously.
What he's doing, Merle, when he moves the leg like that, he's actually testing for ligament damage. If the ligaments are torn severely enough, Boozer is on his feet now and walking off the field with a slight limp. But if the ligaments are damaged and torn, there'll be movement. There'll be play in that knee, and he can frequently tell almost immediately just how severe the injury is. Boozer seems to be in pretty good shape. He's walking off the field, and the doctor, rather than move the leg from side to side as he normally does to test the damage to the ligaments on the side of the knee, was moving it forward and backward, testing the possibly a torn capsule in the back or a torn muscle.
Boozer walking off without a limp. Remember that night in, was it Charlotte, Sam, North Carolina? Where were we when you got your knee?
Here was Charlotte. Beautifully grassed field. That killed me, all that grass.
Wide to the right, Don Maynard. Wide to the left, Eddie Bell. First and goal on the 10-yard line. Clifford McLean has replaced Emerson Boozer as a setback. He's in there tight with John Riggins. Namath on a second down call is back to pass. He throws back over the middle, and the ball is knocked down by Manny Fernandez. He was trying to throw to Riggins over the middle, and Fernandez leaps high to knock it down, but there's a flag thrown back on the 2-yard line. The Dolphins are applauding the flag, but let's see what it was about.
Cliff McLean, I believe, got called for, let's see, what is that?
Pass interference.
Pass interference downfield. And, Merle, he played in the first Miami game, if you remember, and it was a shaky game for Cliff McLean. Did not play well.
So far in the game, the Jets have amassed 169 yards total offense. The Dolphins have 81 total offense, as a 15-yard penalty is walked off against the Jets, taking the ball out to the 25. The Jets have rushed for 83 yards, passed for 86. Boozer is coming back in now, and Clifford McLean goes out. 2 penalties against the Jets, 25 yards total. Bob Matheson comes in. Lloyd Mumford comes in. Nick Boniconi, the middle linebacker, comes out. That puts 5 defensive backs in that secondary for the Miami Dolphins. Don Maynard going to the right side. Eddie Bell coming out wide to the left. Boozer and Riggins are the setbacks, split wide. Second down and goal to go on the Miami 25. The Jets lead at 14-7. We're down to 3:36 to go in the first half. John Schmidt is over the ball. Rich Caster, tight end, is on the right. Here's a draw to Boozer. Boozer hits the right side, goes nowhere. Tackle made by Vern Denherter. In fact, Boozer was thrown all the way back to the 31, but I believe the ball will be marked on a 26 for a yard loss. So it will be third down and goal to go on the 26-yard line of the Dolphins.
Looked like there was a hole developing to the inside, but Boozer broke to the outside. It's thrown for a loss.
Joe Namath now 7 out of 10 for 86 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Sends Eddie Bell wide to the left and Don Maynard wide to the right. Third down and goal of the Miami 26. Namath fakes the draw to Riggins, drops back deep to throw, and he throws long, alley-oops the ball for Maynard. It's out of bounds. Joe apparently lost his grip on the ball. Lloyd Mumford was covering in the area. It looked like he did not have a good grip because the ball didn't come off of those fingertips right.
Yeah, the ball was wobbling downfield. If he had meant to throw the ball out of bounds deliberately, I think he would have had more on it. He wouldn't have thrown the wobbly pass.
Now Bobby Howfield will try to get 3 for the Jets from the 35-yard line. Howfield has 77 points. He is 4 short of his all-time mark in the AFL with Denver. Davis holding at the 33 it will be. Here's the kick. It's on the way. The distance is all right. The kick is good. A 33-yard field goal by Bob Howfield. From the 33. And the Jets now move in front by 17-7. A 10-point lead with 2:41 left to play in this first half. So Bobby Howfield has now kicked 15 out of 19. He has 34 conversions in 35 attempts, and he has 80 points. Is that 80 or 81? Let's double check because he had 81 for an all-time high. And he is 80. He is 1 shy. Back deep, Charlie Lee and Mercury Morris. Here's Howfield's kickoff. It's high, end over end. Will go into the end zone. Played by Charlie Lee, and he will down the ball in the end zone. He started to come out, and Mercury Morris took a look at him, says, down the ball, my friend, and he did. So the Dolphins take it to their own 20. The ball was kicked very, very high, and the Jets were covering well. Good call by Morris.
Yeah, that's the secret. Not only on punts, but also on the kickoffs. The coaches would like to have a high kick to allow the people covering the kick to get down under the football and prevent the run back. Doesn't matter how far the punt goes, but how far it's run back. Kickoff is a little bit different. Of course, if you can get it out of the end zone, you've got no problem.
Mercury Morris, a handoff by Morrow, breaks the tackle of the 20 and then gets knocked down by Steve Tannen, who had to go with a right arm tackle on Morris on the 21-yard line. A gain of 1 by Mercury, and the Jets have really keyed on him this afternoon. Second down, 9 on the 21.
Yeah, Holloman had a shot at him, Merle, behind the line of scrimmage, put his head down as he went to make the tackle, and of course Morris was just moving sideways, took a slight backward movement or step, and Holloman missed the tackle.
Morrow back to pass, looks for Twilly, and he makes the catch on the 40 and rolls out to the 44. W.K. Hicks made the tackle. Steve Tannen went for the interception, just barely missed it. And Twilly caught it for 22 yards. The ball is put on the 43, and we have a timeout in the field now for the 2-minute warning. A timeout, the score. The Jets 17, the Dolphins 7. Miami in the eye with Morris behind Zonka up close. Morrow calls the play with Langer out over the ball. Morrow on a handoff quick to Zonka, and he is at the 50 and into Jet territory at the 46 for a first down. 11 yards picked up on the play. Holloman and Hicks make the tackle. Taylor and Hicks. So Zonka, once he got that one step behind the line of scrimmage, was going for a big 11. He has now carried 4 times for 32 yards. We're down to a minute 34 as Morrill is back to pass. Has some time. He is going long for Twilly. He's behind Tannen. That's the flag. He is out of bounds on the 1. Howard Twilly got behind Tannen. Is out of bounds on the 1-yard line with a minute 25 to go in the first half.
Yeah, they say that Twilly doesn't have that great speed, Merle, but he's got the good move, and he works on Tannen. Tannen, again, was beaten. Twilly was behind him. The play previous to that where Tannen went for the interception, he was gambling a little. You can overlook that because in order to pick off a football, in order to intercept, it frequently requires the defensive back to go ahead and gamble. But letting the guy get behind you is the cardinal sin for a cornerback.
Twilly has cut 3 for 75 yards. Morrison, Zonka, the setbacks, 2 tight ends with Mandich and Fleming, and a handoff to Zonka. Fumbles the ball at the goal line, but I believe the Dolphins recovered it at about the 1. Zonka tried to go over the stack. The ball was shaken loose, but I think the Dolphins recovered it, and they did. Bob Kuchenberg, the left guard, fell on the ball. Clock showing a minute 16 seconds remaining in the first half. The Jets lead the Dolphins 17-7. Earl Morrow on the long pass to Twilly has set it up at the 1, second and goal. The ends again are tight. Twilly to the right. Running backs are split. The handoff to Zonka. Zonka hits to the 1. Is stopped at the 1. And John Ebersol, the middle linebacker, made the initial contact, and he just wasn't about to give. It was Zonka against Ebersol, and that happened in college football, too. Ebersol out of Penn State, Zonka from Syracuse, and 43 seconds remain. The Dolphins call timeout to stop the clock with a 3rd down and goal. The ball officially spotted inside the 1-yard line, almost at the 1-foot line.
Well, we mentioned earlier in the first meeting between these two clubs at Shea Stadium about a month ago, the Jets had the ball 1st and 10 on the 1-yard line, right about where it is now. And, of course, they couldn't go in for the touchdown, had to settle for a field goal. I would say that if that Jet defensive line can stop the Dolphins here, they will have proven themselves. We were talking before the ball game as to whether the Jet defense has really come around because they haven't played the good football game against tough opposition. This is a key test, but then again, you wouldn't expect a team to be able to hold any good football team 3 or 4 times on the 1-yard line.
Earl Morrill has taken the Dolphins from the 20-yard line to the 1-foot line of the Jets in less than 2 minutes. 3rd down goal. Out of the huddle come the Dolphins. Langer is over the ball. Zonka and Morris are the setbacks. Morrill calls it. Morrow the snap, a handoff to Morris. Morris drives in over the top. Touchdown. Mercury Morris scoring for Miami as the Dolphins march 80 yards in 7 plays. Little and Evans set the block up front for Mercury Morris, who went right over the top. Now, Yepremian for the extra point try. 40 seconds remain in the first half. Yepremian is ready. The hold, the kick, it's good. 40 seconds to go, and the Jets' lead has been cut to 3. And there's one thing about scoring right before the half, Sam. A lot of coaches feel that if they can score and then hold that lead, it gives them the momentum going to the dressing room and coming out for the third quarter. What do you think? I know you don't believe in momentum. We've talked about this before.
But what I do...
Premian kicks one that is picked up at the 19-yard line by Bill Zapalak, and Zapalak comes out across the 25 to the 26, and Hubert Ginn makes the tackle for the Dolphins. And the clock shows 35 seconds remaining in the first half. The Jets lead the Dolphins by 3 at 17 to 14. Earl Morrall taking the Dolphins on an 80-yard march that took less than 2 minutes. The key play was that long pass to Twilley, and he went out of bounds on the one, and on the third crack, Morris went over the top for the touchdown. Clock now running with 24 seconds to go in the first half. Bob Matheson is in. The Jets running a long huddle. We're down to 18 seconds. Jerome Barkham goes out to the right side. Eddie Bell wide to the left. We're down to 12 seconds. John Schmidt is over the ball. Namath looks over the defense. We're down to 6 seconds. The Jets go set, and now they get hit with a 5-yard penalty for delay of the game. The Jets letting the clock run out will settle for the 3-point lead going into the dressing room at halftime. Ball is now taken back to the 19.
Well, Larry Zonka had the key block on Mercury Morris's plunge up the middle for that touchdown. And again, that makes sense. You know, ordinarily in a goal line situation like that, when the offensive team is threatening, the defense would be looking for the power runner, in this case, Big Larry Zonka. So then again, by using Zonka to block, you destroy the keys of the defense, and you also have your big man blocking.
Namath hands off to Riggins. Riggins is hit at the 20 and pushed out of bounds in the 21. That ends the first half. The officials have made an error there. They walked off 7 yards to the 19, then moved the ball up to the 21 of that 5-yard penalty. And so the first half has come to an end.